believe in angels?
Well, according to a recent survey, a third of us do, and have even experienced spiritual sightings or received signs from angels.
So, how do we know if we have a guardian angel, and do they reveal? How do they reveal themselves? Well, to help us answer these questions, we're joined now by angel expert Jacky Newcomb and believer Gloria Hunniford. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
So, this is a big question, isn't it? I mean, angels can be different things to different people, I presume.
Yes, some people see angels as the sort of traditional beings of light, God's messengers. But I get letters from all over the world from people who believe that angels are their deceased loved ones, and they have experiences where those deceased loved ones come back to them in dreams and say to them, although I'm not here anymore, I'm still your guardian angel. So they use that term.
I think for the sorry, Philip. I think for the skeptic as well, watching, I think it's important to remember that angels have appeared in all religions and have been with us for centuries. So there's great documentation on angels. And sorry, Philip, I'm interrupting you.
Well, I was going to say, no, same sort of thing. What form do they take then? Are they the great winged things that we see here in the studio, or is it the beam of light?
Well, now Jackie's the expert, and I'm sure she'll have a lot of theories on it. I did a series on angels for television, and what was interesting to me, because I was learning all the time, is the fact that there's so many different types of angels, and so I think that you get it into perspective. A lot of people think that it's something else, it's another force. That's what I believe. You know, you can't really describe the form. Jackie may have a different opinion, but it's that something else, it's that outer force that you can't really explain, but things happen. I'll give you one very quick example. A soldier in Northern Ireland was in the middle of an explosion, went back into the Land Rover, whatever he was driving, to get his boss out, and as he went to put his head in to retrieve his boss, he heard this voice that just went, "Stop!" And had he gone in at that point, the bullet would have gone right through his skull and he would have died. Now, he believes he was saved by that other force, but at the end of the programme I said to him, "Do you now believe in angels?" He went, "Nah."
Oh, really?
But there was something told him to stop.
This voice that just came from nowhere that just said, "Stop."
And is that a similar thing in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people will hear a voice, and if they do, it's one or two words, so you don't get sort of whole sentences. It's stop, it's slow down, something like that, so very brief words. But sometimes people will see sparkling lights, rainbow colours, a glowing form, a figure that looks very human-like. So it varies.
Well, similar sort of thing for you in France. You had a car crash in France.
Well, yes, I'll stop this story, but very, very quickly, driving down to France, the car was packed full of stuff, you know, every kind of household thing you can think of. Whatever happened, if you put £1 million in the table, I couldn't tell you what happened. I'm assuming that driving very slowly in the heat, air conditioning not working, I closed my eyes for a second. Anyway, I ended up, it had crossed a busy road into a pedestrian crossing, and as I woke up, I saw my husband's hair in the windscreen. That bad, okay? Now I think I've actually killed him, because he's not in a very good condition, as you can imagine. And the police are there, it's middle France, nobody's speaking English. I can, my gibberish in French is bad at the best of times. I'm really, really upset. Police are there, ambulance there. Ambulance don't want to let me go with Stephen to the hospital. And it's mayhem. And out of the crowd came this very like Holly, actually, lovely young girl, blonde hair, long blonde hair. And in perfect English, she said to me, "Would you like me to look after your things?" And I, without any hesitation, you're talking about passports, bags, everything. I said, absolutely. I went to the hospital. Next day, we went to try and find our car. We didn't even know where the car was. And she came out of the cafe where she said she worked. And she said, "Do you want me to take you to your car?" And she took us to the car outside the town, about 4 kilometres, did everything she could do for us. Anyway, we got a replacement car, and that afternoon took Stephen to the hospital for a final check, bought a bunch of flowers, went back to find the girl to say, "Thank you so much. You were like a guardian angel." Not one person in the cafe or beyond knew who that girl was. Nobody in the village allegedly spoke English. There was no explanation. Now,
they hadn't even seen her. They hadn't seen her.
Well, they said they hadn't said, like in our connection, French and English. But, you know, she existed. But I believe that whoever she was sent to us at that time. She was our saviour on that day.
So, do angels only sort of appear when we're in times of trouble, or can you call on an angel?
You can call on them. I mean, we don't summon them, but we can ask them to appear. Most people don't see them. They're supposed to sit outside of the visible light spectrum, where you think as a human being. We only see a very narrow part of the light spectrum, but we know outside of that we've got infrared, ultraviolet, radio waves, X-rays. And the trouble is, as human beings, we base our belief system on what we can see, feel, hear and touch, which is a bit naive, really, because, of course, we can only see this sort of narrow band. And there's so much more that we can measure scientifically. Goodness knows what goes beyond that.
Well, there's also people say that but feathers are important to the CFM. I know it's very important to you.
On this programme, actually.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we've actually got a clip, I think, of Karen, who really was a great believer in angels. Here we go.
After my dad died, I think, you know, if anybody close to you dies, you start obviously thinking more deeply about spiritual things. Over the course of a few months, we started talking about angels, and I started reading more about them. And I opened up the Mail one day, and there was a whole article about an angel workshop. And at the very end, it said, "You'll know if you've been visited by an angel because you'll find a white feather." And we just moved house, and I just read it, walked into the back room, and lying on the table, and I brought it along today, was this feather.
I mean, that is a big feather as well, isn't it?
That's a heck of a big feather.
Now, but you had a similar experience at Karen's funeral.
And you see, I don't care, actually, if people believe in angels or another force or another something or not, because I personally find them really, really comforting. Because Karen believed so implicitly that, I mean, she would even ask for a parking angel and get results. But she really believed in we're talking about an isolated white feather here. We're not talking about, you know, a dove that shed all its feathers, but... so she believed it was an angel's calling card. Since Karen died, I believe it's her calling card. And I've found at her funeral, one just landed literally on my foot, which I took as a really, you know, in a devastating day, obviously, as a good sign. First time I took her youngest son, Gabriel, on his first birthday.
Which is a very appropriate
after
name.
Karen died. Yes, exactly. Well, that's why she called him Gabriel. And we're walking down a very wet platform to go to Disney. We're taking the train from Folkestone or wherever. And as we're walking down in the rain, I'm, of course, thinking, oh, you know, Karen should be here with Gabriel today. And then all of a sudden, in the rain, down came this feather that I just couldn't miss, that again landed on my foot. And I just thought, it's like Karen saying, I'm here, I'm coming with you. You know, you're not going without me. I find endless feathers like that.
We've got some questions in the hub, which we'll rattle through some quick questions if we may. Samantha, what have you got for us?
Yeah, lots of questions for Jackie. Matt on Facebook wants to know, does everyone have a guardian angel?
Yeah, I believe so, absolutely. I believe everybody has their own guardian angel, good or bad. Humans, good or bad, not the angels.
By the way, I don't want Leslie Joseph as my guardian angel. She looks more scary as the angel.
In our competition? Yes, she's a scary angel in our competition.
Okay. Fiona says, are children able to see angels more than adults?
Yes, and that's why I bought this little angel teddy. I don't know if you can see that, which is for you, Holly, by the way.
Thank you.
Just to remind me to tell you a story that when my daughter was about 18 months old, my grandmother died. We went to my grandmother's funeral. She didn't go. So when we came back, I sat with her in the lounge. I thought, well, I'll give her some time. We sat on the floor playing. And suddenly she was completely distracted and was looking up at the ceiling. And she said to me, look, Mummy, an angel man. And I thought, OK. So I said, well, let's wave, and we waved. And then she completely lost interest and we carried on playing.
The other thing is Karen had a really good school friend of hers whose little daughter, Gabriella, sadly died at 5 from leukemia. And for the week before she died, in her bedroom, she kept talking about all the pretty angels that they're all flying around the room. So I believe there's lots of documentation about children, you know, when they are in stress, that they see them very clearly.
It's a lovely thought, isn't it?
It's
and
a
I
lovely
can understand why
no matter whether, if you say, if you're a sceptic, if it helps you get through something, if you in your own head, it's helping you. Maybe another one, Samantha?
Yeah, Sheikah on Facebook says, I think my nan's always with me, but my dad can see her and I can't. Why is that?
Oh, really good question. Again, I think it's to do with this sort of visible light spectrum thing that we know that some people are colourblind, for example, so they can see an even narrower band. And so naturally, it's going to be that some people are going to be able to see outside of that. And I don't think there's anything paranormal or spooky about that. I think it's just a natural ability that one day we'll know, we'll know more about.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much indeed.